Good evening and welcome to this meeting for Tuesday, December 6th. If everybody can please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Grigsby. Here. Mrs. McCarthy. Mrs. Saxon.
Here.
Mrs. Tamira.
Here.
Mr. Vaca.
Here. Finalization of the agenda. Is there anything to add and or delete?
The agenda is final as presented.
Thank you. We move right into the superintendent's report.
Awesome. Just a quick note before we get into the actual presentations. We do have one more week left on our community survey. For those who have not yet completed that, we'd appreciate it if you could share that with your friends, relatives, and those who live here in North Ridgeville. That would be wonderful. They can find the link on our website, as well as all of our social media. I would like to introduce Mrs. Lee Armbruster, who is here to talk about PSAT Day and some of the exciting events that she had planned for our students on that day. Mrs. Armbruster.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a few minutes to share. So this year, obviously we all know the students, the juniors and a select group of sophomores take the PSAT on October 12th, they took it. And our seniors usually do college visits, job shadowings on that day. And since COVID and, since the world changed, we haven't done a whole lot with our sophomores and our freshmen. So this year we put together a couple events for our sophomores and our freshmen. We have 347 ninth graders, freshmen, and not 87% of them attended on that day. This was new because the last few years, the 10th graders were not here last year on that day. And so the 10th graders they were trying to figure out why did they have to be there. So we did present to them and I'll share that. But we did get 67% attendance. So we were happy with that. It wasn't great, but next year we will definitely have more. So I'm going to share with you a couple of the things that we did with that student group. If you want to click, we have 13 different career-based trips. And if you wouldn't mind clicking on that link there, Mr. Honimus. So what we did was we went in and I presented this to the 10th grade English classes with the teachers. The teachers presented it, and then I went in and followed up. So we shared with them, I reached out to all of our partners and 13 of them, actually a few more, but logistically it was kind of difficult trying to arrange. The children got to choose, the students got to choose where they wanted to go and what they wanted to do. Then we had to figure out how many places we had. It was kind of crazy, but it worked. So I'm going to share with you the presentation and then some of the pictures from the day. And we had teachers volunteer whether they wanted to go on, which trip they wanted to go on, whether they wanted to work in testing. I was really worried that everybody's going to I'll just do the testing. That's so easy to proctor. But we had a ton of teachers wanted to participate in the sophomore day and the freshman team building day, which I'll share a little bit about after this piece. So the sophomores, the first one was Riddell. They said they take all 300 of them. And I said, well, we're gonna let them choose. So we did partners with Riddell. They did Riddell and they did Willoway Nursery, or they did another, but they got to tour the facility. Riddell works with us. They're working with our Ranger High Tech Academy on some forest projects with helmets. The kids loved it. There's the kids with some of the helmets on, and then our Ranger helmet that they have made for us. So that was great, and they partnered very nicely with us. Kids really enjoyed that piece. Another one of our places that they went to was Finley State Park. Finley talked about all the different careers in the Department of Natural Resources that they have to offer. They were able to take 100. We didn't have that many. So Riddell and Finley were my two, being able to spread them out, because a lot of our other partners were not able to house that many students. And all of our partners did this for free for all of our students, which was great. The only cost we had for the day was the transportation. So Finley, they talked to different people and all the different resources, whether you're a safety forces there, the naturalists, they took a hike. So that was an exciting piece for them. Highland Software, they just started bringing kids in. We were the first trip that they've had since COVID. So they since it wasn't just a class taking coding, they did careers in different IT professions that you can go into, and they provided lunch. Some people provided lunch. We couldn't put that on. Some didn't. So some of the kids were like, this was great. We got pizza. Highland was one of the ones that provided lunch. And we actually have used that. We have another opportunity coming up for students in healthcare. That was one of ours. And we are able to use the people that chose, the kids got to choose who wanted to go to healthcare organizations for, we're using this database that we've created for different opportunities, who to reach out to based on what their first choice was on these places. North Ridgeville is always a great partner with us. So the police and service, they went to the police department and learned about the detectives and all the agencies in the police department. They also went to the service department and learned the different careers in the service department. In addition, we went to the engineering and building department. One of our city council people is working on a building. He opened the building up for the students to go. The building department showed them how that process works, how it works with the engineering department. They also got to go to the fire station. We weren't allowed to do the fire station. They were doing training, but they showed the whole building process of the building the fire station. So they said that was really kind of the best part of the trip. So it was very impromptu, and they went around the city. Another place that welcomed us was French Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant. This was a double with Ridgeville. So they went there and they learned the whole process. It's a great, it's located in Avon and Sheffield, but it's the city of North Ridgeville owns it. Another great opportunity for students, a very lucrative career. Another was Willoway Nurseries. They're also very supportive of our STEM school, and they showed them, they're one of the largest wholesalers inside the Mississippi. And they just showed the whole process. The kids were amazed at what was behind those beautiful gardens when you go down Route 83. In addition, Northridge Healthcare, to give them an idea of all the different careers in healthcare. Like I said, we're using that. We have a Cleveland Clinic experience that is coming up in February. And so these kids are the first ones, but this is their first choice. We're gonna offer them that for their first choice. So it was a great opportunity. And that was partnered with Ridgeville as well, because it wasn't as long of a tour. Draco Manufacturing. We had Draco and Togus, and they're another one that provided lunch, so the kids thought that was fantastic. But they really rolled out the red carpet. The old small town business here in North Ridgeville, they've been here forever. They do injection molding. The kids, we had some great comments. I have some comments that they shared. Another one that we visited was Togus, which again, this one very automated. Definitely would have been cool if we could have the kids go to Draco and Togus, because the different way that they operate, they are just a awesome partner. And actually, the engineer from Togus has agreed to join our STEM advisory team. They've been partnering with us, so that's fantastic. And then I think back at Thermal, they showed a great tour too, partnered with Ridgeville again. That was a smaller tour, provided lunch, another lunch provider. And the last one, I think, yes, we had music education. So when I introduced this to the teachers, Haley and Sarah Miller, asked our music department, said, hey, could we use this to take kids to go see the music programs? I said, great. So we had that as one of the options for the students, for our band and choir students. So they got to see the opportunities in music education. So that was our sophomores. And we were really pleased with the amount of people that did show up. And then we did have, I think the next slide, back to the normal other presentation, is some of the comments they made. So yeah, so we had, I asked them, did anything surprise you? We did a Google form, and Finley, they said how many job opportunities they had for being a state park, and BW, how nice and warming the campus was. Draco, something that really surprised me was how much manufacturing related to my interest in working with vehicles. Togus and Ridgeville, I was surprised with the process of the places making the items, and I was great to see how many people make those helmets in Ridgeville. And then Highland, the people were really nice. The lunch was surprisingly good, and it was all around way fun. So those were some of the cute comments from the students. I really appreciate them responding to the survey. It really does help us. And then the freshmen, we did our PE department, the Army, and ELA, which we've contracted with some of our training for our freshmen, did leadership training and set up the 3 different stations. So the Army did a lot of team building exercises, and the PE did team building as well, California Kickball, Hungry Hippo, Pipeline, Buddy Walker, just different things that they put together, which they were all on board, which we really appreciate. We had to do it over at NRAC and displace some of those people, but they worked with us as well, so we appreciated that. And then ELA did their some social and emotional learning training and working with our students to help build leadership skills for them in our freshman class. So that was the bulk of the day. It was quite, oh, and I have some comments. It was a lot to organize. We learned a lot. We're excited for SAT Day that will be coming up in March, and this was quite a vision for mine, and it kind of evolved organically because we had no idea who was going to really be able to house these kids and how many they were going to be able to house. A lot of organizing, but it worked. And now that people have seen it, teachers that this was great, we could do some more front loading in our classroom. So I'm really, really excited about the SAT day in March. And then, yeah, some of the comments, can we do this again? It was really great. I'm having a hard time getting a real day from school, a rest day from school. So yeah, I enjoyed the LA activity. So it was great to hear what the kids had to say. And then I think I have coming soon next up. Yes, coming soon, a little advertisement. So we have shared all of the information for our future fair last week. We already have 30 people that have responded. So we are changing it up a bit this year. It's going to be during the school day from 11 a.m. To 2 p.m. during our lunches. The high school students have a study hall opposite their lunch, so it won't interfere with any of the regular day. It's on 2/23/23, the Thursday the 23rd. And again, it's open to businesses, colleges, county agencies, the manufacturing groups, unions, everyone. So we are really looking forward to that. And we are going to be having the freshmen and sophomores are going to have activities assigned to them that they will be doing as they go around, and juniors and seniors will be able to attend as well. So thank you guys very much. It was a ton of fun, and we look forward to more events offering these opportunities for our students. I appreciate your time. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
It's exciting giving students an opportunity to see what all is out there. For the longest time, it was a one narrative. And exposing these kids, I know I fell in love with woodworking and working with my hands and wood shop and metal shop and stuff. And that was the direction I ended up spending the rest of my adult life, taking care of my family. So any opportunities we have, the teacher buy-in is amazing. I love hearing that component, that they were excited, that they came to you with ideas. So
Yeah, definitely. When our 8th graders are going to be going to the future fair as well. So that as they start to plan their path, so this will be before they do their scheduling. So that'll be great. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank goodness I did not have to follow these guys.
That's way more interesting. So just to continue the conversation about some really amazing opportunities that our staff provides for our students here in North Ridgeville, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Hostetler, who's going to share a little bit about our next presentation.
And it's fantastic that we followed Mrs. Armbruster, because one of the things I'm most passionate about, and I know is our district, vision is that we prepare all of our students. And we talk about the 3 E's and making sure that our kids are ready to be, employed, enlisted, or enrolled in an upper level education. So one of the most powerful things we can do is give our kids some real world skills that will make them ready for what's next. And so one of those programs that I'm most proud of is our Able Not Label program. And so I have 3 exceptional teachers here that I would like to introduce, and one of their students who are going to tell you a little bit more about our Able Not Label program. And that is Ms. Kaylin Carlo, Ms. Stephanie Godino, and Ms. Sheila Cunningham, and Alex Ashburn.
All right.
All right, so Alex, can you tell everyone who we are
All right, here we are.
and what do you do at school? What business do you help run? What's it called?
What's it called? It's Able Not Label.
Absolutely, and what do we do at Able Not Label?
We only make t-shirts.
And not just t-shirts, but obviously other holiday merchandise and different apparel. So Able Not Label was a simple kind of in-house business that we wanted students to be involved in. Where we started with 25 crew necks. One I'm wearing now, as you can see, a little worn because it's been heavily worn, but has evolved over the last year tremendously. So this program is student ran, led, and they have participation in all aspects of creating, design, production, and as you can see, sales as well. So it's something we're really proud of. The students we've built into our school day, and they have accepted it with open arms, and it's theirs. And we're just excited to kind of take it to the next level and explain who we are, what we do, and how we intend to reach out to the community, bring it more, not just in NRCS, but in North Ridgeville and beyond as well.
So you guys can see this is like just a variety of pictures of our students. All of our students have varying abilities, and there's a job for everyone, even if it's, you know, stamping, or you know, if they're able to use the tagging gun or hand over hand with the heat press. There's something for everybody to do. Do you want to go to the next slide? This just kind of goes over, and I know that Jackie presented some of this at the last board meeting, but this goes over the numbers, and you can see that we've really grown. This is our second year in Able Not Label. Last year was our startup year, so we started a little slow. And like Ms. Gaudino said, we started with just limited amount of apparel, and you can see that we've sold probably close to 500 items at this point. This is like not even an updated slide because this past month we've made so many sales. Something we're really proud of is we do these pop-up shops. So that would be on the weekends or at football games. We'll go and we'll have student volunteers go and work the actual event. So it's taking them outside of the classroom as well and getting them into the community to actually do the transactions in like a very real world and authentic work setting. Right, Al?
Right, you're right.
And we did a pop-up shop on Saturday, right?
Yes, that was last weekend.
And how was it? Did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you did very good. So, you know, it's tying in the vocational skills to it, but also it does incorporate the daily living, the soft skills, and the money management. So it's a full circle program. And then the money, Alex, what do we do with the money?
There was money.
What do we do with it? Do we do fun things with the money?
We should do cash.
Well, we take cash, we take credit, we take checks, right?
Right.
Well, we also take the money and we go on field trips.
Field trips.
Can you name a field trip we went to?
We went to
Where did we go to pick pumpkins?
bigger Hills Farm.
Yeah, so the money that we are making, we are putting right back into their education with community-based instruction. We do have some partnerships. We are working with Crafters R Us. That's where we get all of our apparel, our vinyl. So our students are actually able to go into the store, do the shopping, fill the inventory list. So it's been really great all around. At this point, Alex is going to talk about the different jobs that we do. So could you go to the next slide, please? All right, Al. Go ahead. What's the first thing you do?
Step one, we run Cricut machine.
Okay, so there's a student, he's using the Cricut machine, and that's what is going to be used to cut out the vinyl and the very intricate detail. Okay, do you want to go to the next one? What's the second step?
Step two, we do weeding.
Very good. So this is the process of removing the background of the vinyl that you don't want. And so it's just showing you the vinyl that you want transferred on the clothing.
Step three, and press.
Align and press.
Align and press.
Yep. So we're not just slapping the vinyl on anywhere. We're using measuring tools. We're making sure it's straight. We're making sure we're, reading to the inch or whatever it is that we are trying to measure. And then using, what's that machine in that picture?
Machine?
What's that called?
Align and press.
What kind of press?
That's the heat press.
The heat press. Yeah. So they're also teaching them the safety parts of using a hot piece of equipment like that.
Step four, quality check and tagging.
And this is a great step to teach our students to pay really close attention to detail. So they're feeling the fabric, they're making sure that the vinyl is down and there's not imperfections, all the letters are still on the shirt, nothing peeled up, there's not poke holes, things like that. And then the tagging, them learning how to use a tagging gun, which is really nice. If they ever go into the field of retail, that is a skill that is often used.
Step five, email the customer.
Right, and this is, I always say Alex is the man behind the email because one of his jobs is to check the email every day. And then if there's questions, he'll help respond to the emails, and then also will notify customers when their items are ready for pickup or delivery.
Step six, folding bag.
And you can see in this picture, they're using a folding mat to help our students. So it's an accommodation we use. Some of our students are able to independently fold, and then they'll bag up the merchandise. And then the last step, Al.
Step seven, deliver to customer and complete transaction.
And this is where that money management piece is coming in. So they're learning how to read a credit card, find the security code, the expiration date, all these pieces of a credit card that They need to know if they're ever to use a credit card, have a credit card, debit card. But they're also getting the practice of using cash and doing the, finding change and that piece to it. All right. Do you have any questions?
Where can I place an order?
Alex should send you an email.
Yeah, right. We do have an email set up. It's ablenotLabel@gmail.com. If you're interested in placing an order, you can shoot us an email. We also just got the website up on the district website. So under the high school tab, we do have an Able Not Label tab, and you can find our ordering form there.
Awesome. My wife and granddaughter would love that shirt, and I seen a mug I think you're holding. It's pretty amazing too.
Yeah.
When they did their pop-up Saturday, I bought the hooded sweatshirt and it's so cute.
Pulled up the white sweatshirt.
Yeah, that's the one I got.
What's that design called, Alex?
It's called Choose to Include.
It's probably our bestseller.
Love that.
Something really cool about this design too is that we had, when we were, I think it was a football game against Olmsted Falls, we had a teacher come up to us and we placed a custom order with their intermediate school in Olmsted Falls. So other districts are reaching out too, and we're able to kind of spread, awareness and take our business there too. So again, reaching out to other neighboring communities, and It's Crafters R Us, the Claflin Foundation has been outstanding. So we're at the Holiday at the Ridge. So just trying to take it outside of NRCS and hopefully get to a point where we can employ students in the future post-grad, which is kind of like our big end all goal. So it's great.
Do we have partnerships out in the community with employers that could potentially hire our students after they leave the buildings? Are we working on that side of it?
And that's another part of like our program is we do a community-based experience for our students. So we are also taking our students, they work at Heinen's, they work at Winking Lizard, they work at looking to Beckett, like a variety of places. They, depending on the age, our older students go out more frequently, our freshmen go out twice a week. But we are giving them like that in the field actual exposure and, forcing them to work with people not as familiar, which is great because they're used to us. So it gives them a very authentic work experience there as well. So that's definitely one of our biggest drives is to prepare them.
We're also really involved too with typical peers in the building. We have some who come in during the day to work with students during Able Not Label. Sparkle Cheer Squad, we made their uniforms, their shirts this year. We're hoping to bring one of our pop-ups to Sparktacular, which is an event that has all of these different districts coming together to do like our big, we call it the Super Bowl of cheer. And unified basketball, that's typical peers and students with disabilities, branching that out to different districts too. So just
Across the board. So we're really excited. And let's take any questions.
thank you so much.
Alex, what's your favorite part?
My favorite part is the heat press.
Yeah. That's awesome. It's
Got those
awesome seeing
muscles.
how excited you all are and how engaging you are with our students. And I love the peer-to-peer. Our students have been amazing with the Sparkle Squad. And I remember dodgeball tournaments. I mean, our student body really does an amazing job of making all our students feel welcome in the buildings. So nice job.
Thank you so much.
Good job, Alex.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did we really talk about the boring school calendar now?
Yeah, I'm so sorry for that. Mr. Britt, our apologies. I do want to introduce David Britt, who is going to talk a little bit, not just about school calendar, but about a pretty a new and exciting process that we actually worked through to get to this point. So I want to thank Mr. Pritt, as well as Ms. Hostetler and Dr. Miller, who assisted on this committee, and also representatives from our teachers union and our support staff union. So it was a collaborative effort, and we're proud to present the following information.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I will try to be as engaging. I don't think I'm going to be successful. I'm just going to put it out there. So what you have in front of you is a draft of a school calendar. And typically we like to get our school calendars out earlier in the year than what we have for this one. And the reason for that is, as Superintendent Casario said, we have spent a lot of time working with our union groups around this concept of the school calendar and what's able to be done with it, and how do we make sure that we're providing the best learning that we can for students and still meeting the needs of the community. So every year we put out a school calendar. One of the first things we hear is school starts too soon. And then you have a group that, you know, if you move that start date back, then it ends too late in the summer. And you look around the holidays and there are issues there, and we have issues with early release and things of that nature. So we really, through our DLT, work with our 2 union groups to take a kind of a holistic look at our calendar to see if we can make it better, quite honestly, for everybody involved, for our families, for our staff, for our students. And that's what you have in front of you today is our attempt at that. So one of the issues that you run with the school calendar is that, you know, where you start determines where you end. So if you're looking to do a later start to the school year, that typically pushes your ending back into June, sometimes the second week in June. And we feel that the later you go in June, that time isn't always necessarily as effective as some of that time earlier in the school year. You know, you've got past state testing, you've gotten past AP testing, you've gotten past SAT testing. So a lot of those opportunities, a lot of those things that students have worked towards, you know, have come and gone. And then you get into those nice summer months. We know what it's like when spring finally breaks here in Ohio, whether that be in April or May or June or July or whenever that comes, you know, that spring fever comes. So what I've put in front of you tonight is a group effort amongst our union groups and our central office staff. And what it does is it compresses the school year slightly by lengthening the school day a little bit. So what you're looking at is a schedule that, you know, if approved, when we talk next, would start students for the 23-24 school year on the 24th of August, which is about a full week later than we're currently starting. The nice thing about that is when you look at the end date, we're looking at an end date for students of the 23rd of May. So while we've not gotten between the 2 holidays, we certainly have come much closer by putting this together. And the way that we have been able to do that again is to slightly lengthen that student day. You know, when I'm talking about lengthening the student day, we're talking about at K1 and 2, about 10 minutes a day. When we talk about our 3 through 12, it actually works out to about 20 minutes a day. So that then enables us to compress that calendar a little bit. It actually takes about 8 school days off of the physical calendar without shortening the time that the students are in class. And in some cases, this will actually benefit our high school students because one of the challenges we face at our high school is, you know, we run one of the shorter class periods that you're going to find in a high school. So this then allows us to put that time back into student schedules to lengthen out the amount of time that they're actually in each of their classes throughout the course of the day. So if and when approved, we're looking at an August start. September, October look pretty traditional. The difference again will be that those pesky early release days have gone away in this version of the calendar. And we've been able to do that by inserting some professional development time throughout the calendar, which benefits not only our teaching staff, but benefits groups that traditionally aren't benefited by an early release. Our paraprofessionals, our bus drivers and bus monitors. So some of those people that don't traditionally have that professional development, we're then able to provide for them. November looks a lot the same. December, you know, we get close to that 2 weeks off at Christmas. Ending on the 19th, the first day off will be the 20th, and then coming back on the 3rd of January. January looks pretty traditional. February looks pretty traditional. March then would be that Easter/spring break that we're used to seeing the last couple of years. Typically that has been somewhere the last week of March, the next to last week of March. So in this calendar, that would actually be the 25th that would start. And then again in May, on the 23rd would be our last student day. So one of the better activities that we have worked through with our staff, got great support from our certified teaching group when they looked at it, because in order to make this happen, there have to be some MOUs in place and things like that. So our teaching staff, they actually just wrapped up their vote on it. We had 85% approve of making the changes that would be necessary to the schedule. Our non-teaching staff were encouraged, and one of the things that we have worked with them is making sure that nobody is hurt by making these changes. So we know the difficulty in keeping the quality employees that we have. We don't want to create a situation to where they want to look elsewhere. So we can't just say, you know, we're going to take blank number of days off your schedule. And we have done that in large part by providing the PD time, by lengthening out their day itself, so that everybody is at least whole, if not in some cases a little bit above 4 hours where they were for the course of the year. So we have a little more work to do with that group, but that should happen before we meet again in December. And as long as that works out, then we'd come back to you for final approval. But things right now, I'm encouraged by it. I think it's a positive change for our families, for our students and our staff. So I'm happy to answer questions about where we are, what the next steps look like, or anything that you may have rolling around. So,
Mr. Pritt, thank you. Absolutely riveting. All of those groups.
absolutely.
And all kidding aside, one suggestion is these are the colors that we typically use. Could just be that my eyes are getting old, but the purple, if we could change the lettering on there,
I absolutely can do that.
because I honestly, I can't read it.
Certainly.
At all.
Yep.
Even the blue and green,
Sure.
but definitely the purple. Other than that, I love the fact that the staff had so much feedback and buy-in. And
Appreciate that. It's been one of the better processes I feel like we've run, one of the better committees I've been part of. So
as a parent, grandparent, I'm thrilled that early release days have gone away
So happy.
because they were an absolute nightmare for parents.
absolutely.
There was no good answer from most parents whose kids were in daycare. It wasn't available. It just, this really is going to help our parents, I believe, as well.
Certainly recognize that as a challenge. So
Thank you.
any other questions? Okay, so next steps then, just so you know, once we get to go ahead, we'll be figuring out exact building start and end times. Obviously, adding 20 minutes to a day or adding 10 minutes to a student day is going to affect those times a little bit. So we'll reconvene with our groups. We'll definitely want to get some input from buildings as far as that goes. And obviously, in a district this size, transportation in large part runs start and end times, particularly when you're running as many routes as we are. So my hope would be that once we get final approval on that, early January, we can come back with, kind of what those times look like. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes superintendent's report.
Thank you. All right. Here's an opportunity of hearing of the public. If anybody in attendance this evening would like to address the Board of Education, tonight's your opportunity. Please approach the podium, state your name and sign in.
My name is John Vertochnik, and as of another 7 days, the 13th, I've been in North Ridgeville for 50 years. I had 2 sons graduate from North Ridgeville High, one through the trucks mechanic program and another one through the HVAC program. And I take a note that both of them were considered essential employees and they weren't allowed to stay home during these COVID issues. But number one, it's kind of a hard act to follow with those the program that you folks have going. And I apologize because I was inquiring about maybe doing some business with them through another organization that I belong to. But what I'm here for tonight is I worked I believe you called it the Holiday on the Ridge last weekend. And we had a group of students that were volunteering to help out before setup and the day afterwards a setup. And I was talking to a few individuals and they belong to the North Ridgeville Key Club and they were there volunteering. And I really had a nice conversation with them. It was interesting that we were talking as young adults amongst them. And I was surprised that they're not getting paid for this. And those individuals, they really don't get a lot of recognition. Their names are not in the paper for the sports, the football team, the basketball team, and that. And I think you really should give them some sort of recognition for being there. I didn't take down names because I don't like to take down names, but if you need them, we can get them to you. But I just want to let you know what a fantastic job they did, and they are there working for nothing. And I thought that was amazing. We hear so many bad things about our youth, but we don't hear much about individuals like this that are willing to work in the community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anybody else this evening? All right, we'll move into the consent agenda. Mr. Miura, an education report.
It's recommended that the Board of Education approve the 2023-2024 school calendar. This is the first reading for these items. The second reading and consideration for approval will be at our December 20th regular meeting.
Thank you. Communications report, Mr. Grigsby.
It is recommended that the Board of Education accept the following gifts with appreciation. A monetary donation of $2,000 was donated by the NRHS Athletic Boosters to purchase a cheer mat for the North Ridgeville High School cheer team. Miscellaneous items, which include motor oil, brake fluid, tire lube, tubes, latex gloves, and other miscellaneous items, were donated by Mel and Janet Hennesek to the maintenance, transportation, and high school industrial technology classes. Monetary donation of $493 was donated by North Ridgeville Kiwanis Club to go towards North Ridgeville High School Key Club field trip to Columbus. The monetary donation of $5,000 was donated by Rick Clapham Memorial Foundation to the North Ridgeville Student Services to be utilized by Able Not Labeled and Unified Sports Program. $10 was donated by Jennifer Hicks to the Charities Aid Foundation of America Employee Giving Campaign to the North Ridgeville City Schools. And a monetary donation of $219 was donated by North Ridgeville Kiwanis Club from the raffle baskets at Breakfast with Santa event to the North Ridgeville High School Key Club. And we thank our community for the tremendous support for our schools and students.
Thank you. Human Resources report, Ms. Saxon.
We have a number of items in the Human Resources report, 3 certified leave replacement appointments, 1 certified staff building substitute contract, 1 support staff substitute contract, 1 certified staff resignation, 1 non-represented support staff resignation, 5 support staff resignations, 4 certified staff leaves of absence. This is the first reading for these items. The second reading and consideration for approval will be at the December 20th regular meeting. This concludes the Human Resource report.
Thank you. We have another education report from Ms. Tamira.
It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the SmartNet agreement for wireless controller through Southeast Security. This will be a 3-year agreement with Cisco through Southeast Security for a SmartNet contract. I move to approve the education report in 1 reading.
Second,
Moved by Ms. Tamira, second by Ms. Saxon. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon,
yes.
Mr. Grigsby. Yes. Mrs. McCarthy, Mr. Vaca.
Yes. Human Resources report, Ms. Saxon.
Yes, we have a few items to consider under the Human Resources report. 1 administrative contract, 1 support staff substitute contract, 1 support staff adjustment. I move to approve the Human Resources report in 1 reading. Second,
Moved by Ms. Saxon, second by Ms. Tamira. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Saxon,
yes.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mr. Grigsby. Yes. Mrs. McCarthy, Mr. Vaca.
Yes. It is recommended that the Board of Education adjourn this regular meeting.
Second,
Moved by Ms. Tamira, second by Ms. Saxon. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Tamira,
Yes.
Mrs. Saxon,
yes.
Mr. Grigsby. Yes. Mrs. McCarthy, Mr. Vaca.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.